Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I am a huge fan of the K-pop group BTS, huge fan. And I know a bunch of women that also are huge fans. And there were a couple that I wanted to make some small gifts for, just to say, hey, I'm ARMY just like you. So I made them these bookmarks. I used some Artistry products to make them. And I decided I needed to make a really cool card to go with the bookmarks that I made them. So if you're ARMY like me, which is the name of the BTS fan base, then you'll understand why I chose the colors I chose, why I chose some of the imagery that I chose, and so on. So I'm making the same card that I have shown there on the left. The only difference is the type of cardstock that I use on that main focal layer where I cut the Milky Way border die from Hero Arts. What I've got on the card that I'm making in front of you now is smooth Bristol cardstock from Strathmore. What I used on the other card is a watercolor paper, and it's a brand that I don't love. It looks great in person. It looks great on the video there and in the photos and whatever, but the difference in how much better the second card looks as far as that top layer, it's a pretty radical difference. They're both lovely, but the colors blend so much better on the smooth Bristol cardstock as opposed to the watercolor paper where it really should have worked, but it wasn't quite the best quality. Still totally worth giving it away. I love how it turned out. I just prefer the Bristol, if that makes sense. It should make sense. I think I explained it pretty well. So I die cut both of those pieces from the smooth Bristol cardstock. I ran them through my die cut machine twice just because there's some finicky bits in that Milky Way border. I'm just using my pokey tool to kind of remove all of those excess pieces, and I kept that star off to the side. I thought I was going to use it. I wound up not using it, but that's fine. I just stuck it into my little package to stay with the die so that I had an extra for another time when I use this die because it's just a great die. So here, look at that shimmer. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I love that. So I'm using Lindy's Magicals in Witch's Potion Purple. This is from the Haunted Halloween collection. That's the first collection that I've gotten from Lindy's, and it is amazing. I love every color that is in this set. I've got some others now, but this is still my favorite that I have so far. So I'm spraying the smooth Bristol cardstock with water, and I'm going to just drop some of the Magicals on top. I got a really big clump in that upper left corner, but it's all right. We're going to work it out. So the fan brush is dry, and I'm going to keep that dry. I grabbed my, I think it's a size 10 Princeton Snap round brush. This is my favorite watercolor brush. That whole collection is amazing. But anyway, it doesn't matter what brush you use. That's just what I grabbed. And I'm just spreading that all out. You can see that blue popping through, that shimmer. Oh, it's amazing. So I kept the fan brush dry on purpose so that I can keep dipping back into the powder and I don't have to worry about getting my powder in the jar wet. And I have the watercolor brush on the side just so that I can blend everything out and make sure I don't have any spots that I missed. But man, this stuff, it really is magical. I just love playing with it and experimenting. I have a bunch of ideas for future videos that I'm going to use this stuff for in, not just the Haunted Halloween collection, but the other couple of collections that I have now as well. I have a coupon code for them too, so make sure you check out my description box. You can save 10% if you go shop at Lindy's Gang to get some Magicals or some of their other products. So now, because I'm impatient, I am going to dry this up with my Wagner heat tool. You can just let it dry by air, but I really wanted to just get it done. So I'm heating it up, and there is plenty of powder on my glass mat there. You can kind of see that blue shimmering. You can see some drips of purple. I will wind up pulling that up with an extra piece of cardstock. That is, again, some more smooth Bristol cardstock. I'm not doing anything with it now, but I certainly don't want to waste all of that yummy color. So this will be great for die cutting. Like, you can die cut a shape out of it. You can use it for a shadow layer for a sentiment. You can use it for the focal layer of a sentiment. I can throw it on my gel press. I could stamp on top of it. Plenty of things, but certainly don't want to waste all of that color. Now, people, look at that. Oh, that pop of teal is just amazing. But you can see I use the same stuff on that first card, and it just looks really different. So, and this goes for any medium, what I'm about to tell you. If you're finding that you've got a medium that people are raving about. Oh, this is the best stuff ever. It doesn't matter if it's alcohol markers, watercolor markers, whatever. If you find that you are struggling with that medium when everybody and his grandmother is raving about it, change your paper. I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. There are so many things, for example, watercolor markers, that I was like, I don't understand why people love these so much. They're not blending, they're not moving, I don't get it. And it's, once I change the paper, it's like, oh, I get it now. So don't get frustrated with the medium. Try switching up your paper or your cardstock. It could very well be that that is the issue that you're having. So I've got Villainous Potion and Peacock Feathers Distress Ink. I'm applying them with my Cottontail blending brushes, just trying to get sort of a dreamy look. Obviously, I'm not going for something realistic here. We're just kind of in a dreamscape. For those that don't know BTS, there is a song called Whalian 52, and it's all about a whale. There's a whole story behind it. You can certainly do a Google search to find out. It's a lovely song, but having a whale is often used in a lot of BTS imagery. So I knew that this was perfect for the card. And that's exactly why I got that Dream Accessories die set from Hero Arts, because of the whale. He's so pretty. So I sprayed him down with some Memories Mist in Iridescent. A little tricky to find these mists still, but I do have a shop that is carrying it. I found randomly online when I was searching for it. So you can get it, but use what you've got. If you've got something shiny from another company, if you've got fireworks sprays from Imagine or whatever, then, go with that. But this one is really pretty because it's a clear spray, but it has that iridescence to it. So it's not going to, color over what you've already got there. Just keep in mind that the distress inks are, water activated. So we got kind of a mottled effect, which I actually really love on the whale. It's not so solid anymore. It gives it that dappled look, kind of like when sunlight is hitting the water, it just kind of gives that effect. So here I have a piece of light teal cardstock and my custom made stencil from A Colorful Life Designs. I had asked Mary Kay, the owner, to kind of whip up a stencil for me with different sizes of the BTS and Army logos so that I can use them on all sorts of things. So this is the same stencil that I used on the bookmarks that I showed you at the beginning, except I used the BTS logo instead of the Army logo. So here I kind of put it a little higher than the center because I know that I wanted to have my whale below it, kind of passing through that Milky Way border. I got a little bit of ink on the side there. Even though I used washi tape, I still made a bit of a mess. So I'm using my mono eraser from Tombow to kind of rub that off the surface. It works really well, but I knew that the border was going to cover most of it. Plus, we're making it a shaker card, so if you saw it, well, then you're focusing on the wrong things. Once the card is complete, I should say. So I grabbed that Iridescent Memories Mist again, and I'm just spraying this cardstock. This is not like a heavyweight cardstock. It's either, I think it's Prism. So, if you haven't heard of Prism, that just goes to show you like how old it is because they've been out of business for a while. But I love this color. It's really pretty. There's a little splotch of purple there. I will fix that. Don't worry. But anyway, so it curls up. But once it's heated up, I dried it with my heat tool again because I'm impatient. It flattened out. And once we get all of our layers attached, it's totally fine. So what I have here is a sparkle blend from Doodles Paper Playground. Again, they are no longer in business, so I apologize for that, but just grab what you have. I really like the colors in this particular blend because they're super oceany, hence the narwhals and the seashells that are in there, which I pulled most of them out. A couple of them escaped and got in, but I'm going to place some of these sequins in specific spots to hide the two little purple splotches that I have, and also it'll just keep the sequence from, moving because I'm going to adhere it down to the card there. What's also nice about having them adhered is that even if the rest of the sequence falls down where you can't see it, you've got a couple of pieces that will always be visible. Here I'm using my little trick for getting sequence in the right spot pretty easily. I have a jewel picker in my left hand and then my pokey tool in my right along with my glue. And I just find that this is the easiest way to attach sequence exactly where you want it to go without kind of using your fingers. I have really thick fingers, so using tools like this makes it a lot easier. So now I have some clear acetate, and this is just from some stamp package that I had. I always save the acetate. And I'm cutting off the tab at the bottom, and then there's a hole in the top, so I'm removing that as well. And you want to make sure that obviously the acetate is large enough so that it can wrap around your piece of cardstock. And it doesn't have to be, 4 by 5 1/4 like this. It could be any size. If you watched my video last week, I did a shaker as well, and it was just a small little square. So it could be whatever size you want. You just want the acetate to be able to wrap around whatever that piece is that is going to essentially be the shaker. I have my Tear It tape from Imagine. I love this tape. This tape is great. I think I talked about it last week, that it's embossable. It's 1/4 of an inch thick, or I should say wide, because it's nice and flat, but it tears really easily. It's good stuff. I like it a lot. So now I'm going to remove the release paper from the bottom and the sides. Now the trick to this is obviously you want to get a nice good seal, but you also don't want to make it so tight that your cardstock kind of warps, right? Because then you'll have a harder time of it laying flat later. You can do it obviously if you just really get a lot of glue on there and attach it to your card base or whatever, but if you keep it sort of on the looser end, not loose, but looser than really tight, then you'll be fine. So I'm just wrapping the acetate around. Look at all that purple I have on my fingers. That's how you know you had a good day. If you've got inky fingers, then that means that you had some time to be creative and the day couldn't have been all bad. So I've got these little flaps here. It's kind of like when you wrap a present, you've got those little flaps. So just trim those off. You don't have to worry about anything falling out of it because it is already sealed. So I went and picked through that Ocean Beauties Sparkle Blend sequin mix, pulled out almost all of the narwhals. You can see that one's going to probably slip in there. There's a couple of shells, but it works because of the whale. I just didn't really want the narwhal. Then I have these extra like purpley confetti bits from, I believe it's from A Colorful Life Designs. Just more sequins. The Ocean Beauties Sparkle Blend didn't have quite enough purple in there for me, so I wanted a little bit more. And I also didn't want to overdo the sequins because I really wanted the Army logo to show, but I, of course, wanted a little bit of that interactivity and just some more shine because you can't have too much of that, right? So I'm cutting off some excess again and those little flaps that are at the side. And then we're going to see what we have. We're going to shake it around, make sure everything moves well. Take a look at that. So cute. There's a little bit of a clump there on the side at the bottom, but you can just kind of flick it out and it'll work its way out. I fix it later, but that's really cute. So now we've got our top layer and we're going to wind up attaching that. I've got the same Tear It tape again, but you'll see that on the side where the stars are really close to that border, it's a little too thick. The Tear It tape is too thick for that space. So I've got my 1/8 of an inch ScorTape, which I am just at the end of the roll. I really need to get more. I think I might have like literally an inch left. So I really need to get more because it's great for those tight spaces like that. So I did it just where I really had to. And then I went back to the Tear It tape and added the rest there around the border. So I want to make sure that stays nice and tight to the acetate. I don't want to have any ends kind of sticking up or whatever. And then you're going to see me grab my Barely Arts glue and I'm going to actually use it on the acetate. Last week on my video, I mentioned how I really don't like using liquid glue on acetate, but there are some times when it's just easier and you kind of need to do it. Yes, I probably could have used some more ScorTape on the parts of the galaxy that kind of swirl into the center, but you guys saw that I'm pretty much out of it. So instead of doing that, I wind up using the liquid glue and holding it in place with my fingers and then a block, and it works out fine. And I don't mind using the liquid glue in that respect because it's not holding together the card. The integrity of the card isn't going to falter if that piece is not stuck perfectly. Does that make sense? Like, it's just the top. I just don't want them to be flipping up completely, right? So it does its job for that. Otherwise, I prefer to have like a dry tape adhesive. Okay, so now that we've talked about adhesive for a very long time, Again, I like to explain my reasonings for things, and I appreciate when you folks leave comments to me saying that it's helpful to you to know the whys, not just that I do it, but why I do things. So thank you for encouraging me and saying those nice things. My whole point of making these videos is to teach you stuff, right? That's why we do these things. So that's why I tend to kind of over expand my ideas and explain what's going on in my head. So I've got the glue again, and I'm going to stick down my little whale. I don't need to go crazy with, gluing it down completely. It's fine, because it's going to be held, at both ends and then a little bit at the bottom where its fins are. I didn't want to worry about it gushing out where the acetate is. And what's nice is that you can still see the sequins down below it. So there's plenty of room for the sequins to move, and the whale isn't so big that it's kind of hiding the sequence either. Oh, it's so pretty though. I'm so happy that I got those dies. They're just great. So if you've watched my videos before, you know that I tend to not leave my card bases completely white. I like to add as much color as I can. So I grabbed Peacock Feathers Distress ink again, which we had also used on the whale, and I'm just buffing it into that card base just to give it some additional teal. Purple and teal are my two favorite colors, which is one of the reasons why I went with the teal, but they just go so well together. They do, right? And also, again, if you're an ARMY geek like me for BTS, then you know that they've used those colors for a bunch of things. The Take Two, cover, I guess, has purple and teal. The new Jimin song has purple with, I think, a little bit of teal. I don't know. I haven't looked at it too much yet, but there's teal popping in and out here and there. So I grabbed a Copic marker, I think it was T2, just to kind of darken the eye a little bit. And then I grabbed my Signo White gel pen just to add a little spot of white, just to give it a highlight. And that was pretty much it. So that's it, you guys. That's the card. I think it's so pretty, and I think it's totally perfect for any ARMY out there. So I'm going to I thought I glued it down. I did not glue it down yet, but you get the idea. So I think it works really well with the bookmarks that I made. And I think the card is really fun. And inside of this whole little packet, I'm going to add some BTS stickers and just kind of spread the love a little bit, right? That's what it's all about. So it's nice to be able to include a little extra gift with the card. It'll still mail nice and easily because the bookmark is flat and the stickers that I'm going to be adding are flat. And, hopefully it'll brighten their day a little bit. We'll see. So that's pretty much it. I think that I want to reiterate to you that if you get frustrated with any of your mediums, that you really want to try to play around with the different types of papers that are out there, because it's going to make a huge difference. Here we are taking a deep breath, trying to center that. Oh yeah, we got it on the first try. So I hope that you'll give this a try, something here. Grab some Lindy's Magicals, get some Memories Mist, play with your Distress inks. Just have a good time. Make a shaker. I'm glad I'm making shakers again. I kind of missed it after taking a little bit of a break from that. So that's it for me today. I will see you guys very, very soon. Look at the shine. Look at the shine. I wish you could see it in person. They're so pretty. All right, guys. I hope you learned something today and that you enjoyed my little video. I will see you all very, very soon. Be well, stay safe, and listen to some BTS. Peace out.